The series begins in America with a young woman named Katie, who appears to be suffering from frustration due to the distance separating her from her boyfriend, who currently lives in Korea. Katie seems to feel isolated as she watches those around her who, unlike herself, are with their partners. Struggling to video chat with her boyfriend Dai because of poor internet connections, she hears from him about his feelings of frustration over their separation. Katie asks Dai whether they'll be able to see each other anytime soon, but due to a poor network, Dai struggles to hear her. Amidst this, Katie receives a call from a Korean school she had applied to, and her joy knows no bounds when she finds out that she has been accepted. She can hardly believe it. Upon returning home, Katie gathers her father and his wife to share the story of her love for Dai. She expresses her belief that fate brought them together. She recounts the day she visited her grandmother's house and found boxes that belonged to her mother. Opening them, she discovered that her mother had traveled to Korea to study at a Korean high school. When she put on her mother's old jacket, she noticed the name of the school where her mother studied, a school that her boyfriend Dai also attended. Katie excitedly tells her father that she applied to the same school her mother had attended and that she had been accepted. Not only that, but she also received the same scholarship her mother had. However, her father seemed less than enthused and reminded her that she didn't have much time left to study. Trying to convince him, Katie reveals her longing for her boyfriend and her desire to know more about her mother. Her father remains hesitant until his wife persuades him, saying that it is a good thing for Katie to want to know more about her mother and her culture. Katie insists that this is her chance to connect with her mother in her own way. Eventually, her father gives in and tells her that her mother would be proud of her. An excited Katie packs her bags and leaves. Upon arrival at the airport, she spots a handsome young man who appears to be popular with everyone around. As he walks past, he accidentally bumps into Katie with his suitcase. To her surprise, she finds him wearing the same school uniform as hers. However, he dismissively ignores her when she tries to ask him something, telling her that he doesn't understand English before walking away. Katie decides to surprise Dai and chooses not to tell him that she'll be studying at his school. Upon arrival in Korea, she finds her bus just about to depart, but misses it. Left with no choice, Katie takes the subway where she endures hardship due to her luggage and unfamiliarity with the surroundings. She can't find anyone to help her locate her school as everyone seems to ignore her. Elsewhere, we are introduced to Yuri, who appears to be incredibly wealthy yet rebellious. We see her shopping extensively at a store, and as she exits, she is chased by the paparazzi who keep taking her pictures. As Katie was crossing the road, she was inadvertently hit by Yuri's car. Yuri, out of courtesy, offered to help Katie, who requested a ride from her. Yuri agreed and was surprised to find out that Katie wanted to be dropped off at her school. Katie, excited, kept sharing her story with Yuri, revealing that she had planned a surprise for her boyfriend and was hoping to have her first kiss at the school party. Katie also asked Yuri if she had a boyfriend and offered to help her, to which Yuri replied that she had casually dated a guy over the summer, but it wasn't serious. Katie seemed to get along well with Yuri and appeared to like her. At school, Day appeared in the financial aid office, showing signs of struggle to pay his school fees. He pleaded with the school administration to give him more time to figure things out. School agreed, considering his high academic performance, but made it clear that if he was unable to pay by the end of the day, they would have to cancel his registration. Day thanked them and left. Upon arriving at school, Katie sent Day a message, telling him she had a surprise for him. Yuri went to meet her mother in her office, who happened to be the school principal. Her mother told Yuri that she had been acting strangely for a while and asked her to explain what was happening. This was because the parents of Yuri's friend had contacted her and complained about Yuri. Yuri lied to her mother, telling her that she had been in a relationship with a guy over the summer and her friend was helping her cover up, as she was seeing someone whom neither she nor her father would approve of. Her mother believed her, but asked her to introduce her boyfriend. Katie went to fill out her housing paperwork and happened to see the principal. She recognized her as the woman in the photo with Yuri's mother. Katie approached the principal and showed her the picture, but the principal seemed irritated and avoided Katie, which made Katie suspicious. Katie entered her dormitory at the same time Day was leaving. When she arrived, her father called to check up on her and advised her to stay awake as long as possible to beat the jet lag. Katie promised her father that she would stay awake, but as soon as she hung up, she fell asleep until nightfall. She woke up panicking because she was late for the party. She got ready quickly, dressed in a beautiful dress, and headed to the party. Upon arrival, she bumped into a guy who turned out to be the same one from the airport. The guy apologized to Katie in English, so she recognized him. She smiled and commented on his English skills, to which his friend apologized on his behalf and told her that he liked to do that often. As they were chatting, Dai entered the party, surprising his friends as they saw him dressed in an incredibly expensive suit. Kitty's face lit up at the sight of him. She was astonished by his appearance. She rushed over to embrace him, making Dai elated, not quite believing his luck. However, he was shocked when he found out she had transferred to his school. He told her that he needed to discuss something with her, but before he could continue, Yuri intervened, shocking Kitty with the revelation that she was Dai's girlfriend. Kitty, shocked, left the place immediately. Dai tried to chase after her but was stopped by Yuri. When Kitty left, she was inconsolable, barely able to catch her breath. She heard footsteps behind her and thought it was Dai, but it turned out to be Alex, who was revealed to be the new teacher. He engaged Kitty in conversation, who was still reeling from Dai not chasing after her. At the same time, Yuri urged Dai to focus and forget Kitty, noting that their friends had noticed their interaction and warning that she did not want any issues. Dai was distressed about Kitty but felt unsure about how to act. Kitty left Alex and declared she would return to the party, determined to understand the whole situation before leaving. When Dai stepped out with Yuri, he was surprised to learn that she had paid all of his school expenses, making him indebted to her. Upon Kitty's return to the party, she asked Minho and Kyu about Dai, not realizing they were his friends until she introduced herself. She was taken aback when she found out they were Dai's friends. Yuri was questioned about why she claimed Dai was her boyfriend. It was because her mother would be upset, knowing she was dating the son of their driver. Yuri replied that her mother would soon realize it was a ploy for attention and would ask her to break up with him. Dai responded by saying he did not want to hurt Kitty, but Yuri stopped him and said the night belonged to her. Later, she went to inform her mother about her relationship with Dai, forcing herself to keep composed. She ignored her daughter and walked away. At this point, Kitty confronted them, accusing Dai of being a traitor, and told Yuri that he was betraying both of them. Yuri countered that he was betraying Kitty, as she knew about their relationship. Kitty was saddened seeing them taking pictures together and felt like she was being made a fool of. She left the place and stumbled into the desserts, knocking them to the floor. Annoyed by the onlookers, she tried to leave but fell flat on her back. Embarrassed, she fled from the scene quickly and decided to book a flight back to her home country. Upon returning to her accommodation, she heard Dai and his friends outside. She listened in on their conversation about her. Minho told Dai that no one would blame him for turning his pen pal into his girlfriend. While Kitty is eavesdropping, she accidentally makes a noise. Thinking it might be their friend who had traveled back home, they enter the room to investigate. To their surprise, they discover Kitty hiding under the blanket when they pull it off. She yells at them until they leave the room. Subsequently, she presents them with her housing documents, asserting that the room belongs to her. Dai informs her that the room was registered under his family's name, hence why she ended up in the male dormitory. He requests a private conversation with her, which Kitty firmly refuses. She demands the necklace back that she gave him on the day of his mother's death. Hesitant, Dai promises to find it for her. Visibly upset, Kitty reminds him that it belonged to her late mother. After this emotional exchange, she goes into her room, slamming the door shut on Dai. Following this incident, Minho praises Dai for managing to captivate the wealthiest girl in town, urging him not to spoil things. Conversely, Kyu advises Dai not to let go of the girl he genuinely loves. Dai is seen wearing Kitty's necklace, which he never actually lost. He sends her a message to inform her about the necklace and to request a conversation, but the message fails to deliver. At the same time, Yuri watches a video of her father mistreating one of his employees. The next day, Kitty packs her belongings and leaves. She's startled to see Dai sleeping in front of her room, but she slips past him and exits. She then notices a tree that her mother had taken a picture beside and takes a photo of it. She feels like this is a sign telling her to stay, not to leave. Dai tries knocking on her door to get her to open, but she doesn't respond. Minho enters and opens the door, only to discover that she's gone. We then see Yuri's father, upset because the video of him has gone viral and many companies want to cut ties with him because of the incident. He becomes angry at Yuri for posting a comedic video about her father's incident. His wife devises a plan after seeing a picture of Yuri and Dai. She suggests that they publicize their daughter's relationship with their chauffeur's son and express their support for it. Her husband agrees to the plan and asks Yuri to change her clothes for the upcoming press conference. At the same time, Dai seeks out Kitty to explain his predicament. However, Yuri persistently tries to contact him, leading to Kitty leaving him mid-conversation. Dai stops Kitty, moving closer in an attempt to kiss her, but his father interrupts, stating that his boss urgently needs him. Kitty is taken aback when she discovers that Yuri's driver is, in fact, Dai's father. When she meets Yuri, Dai informs her that their deal is over and there's nothing left between them. Kitty retorts that circumstances have changed, and as she gets into her car, she sees Kitty standing there, unable to ask her to get out. Upon returning to her lodgings, Kitty tells Minho and Kyo that she intends to stay, stating that this is no longer about a boy. She explains that her mother studied at the same school, and staying there brings her closer to her. During their conversation, conversation. She is taken aback upon seeing Dai on television. She watches him stand next to Yuri as her father discusses their relationship, trying to improve his image after the incident with the video. Kitty notices that Dai doesn't look happy and confirms this when she sees him pull his hand away as Yuri tries to hold it. She is relieved when she realizes that their relationship is a sham. The next day, Dai is unsure whether to sign the contract given to him by Yuri's father, which stipulates that he would pay a large sum of money if their secret was exposed. His younger sister then enters and asks about his relationship with Yuri, thrilled at her brother's newfound fame. His father asks if there is something he should know, but Dai reassures him that everything will be fine. He then notices that his younger sister's shoelaces have been cut and feels upset because her friends are bullying her. When Dai returns to the dorm, Kitty asks to speak with him. As they enter the room, he begins to undress to put on his school clothes. Kitty becomes embarrassed, turns her face away, and then asks why he ran after her in his pajamas, and not only that, but also lied to her and led her to believe he was wealthy. Upset, she asks him if he doesn't know her well enough to realize she doesn't care about these things. Dai tells her that he was embarrassed because a beautiful girl was infatuated with him. Just before he could speak about Yuri, his friends barge in and insist he leaves quickly for school. Dai promises Kitty that he will explain everything later. During this time, Yuri is at her home, trying to send messages to her friend who isn't responding. Her mother intervenes, insisting that Yuri should have Dai quickly sign the contract. When Yuri arrives at school, she receives the contract from him. However, Dai is anxious due to photographers surrounding them. Yuri takes his hand and asks him to smile. Dai tells her that Kitty has discovered his secret and he needs to tell her everything. Yuri stops him and insists that he should sign the contract first. She then tells him about her friend who has disappeared and she can't reach her anymore. As she speaks, Yuri becomes emotional and starts crying. Dai notices that the people around them are taking photos. To help her, he carries her to her classroom. At this moment, Kitty sees them and feels upset. Moreover, she becomes more distressed when her classmates start mocking her due to what she did at the party. Nonetheless, she tries to hold herself together, puts in her earphones, and hopes for a fantastic day. Yuri thanks Dai for his help and agrees that he should talk to Kitty, but on the condition that she keeps their secret. Dai reassures her, claiming that he has never disclosed his secrets before. Later, Yuri asks Dai for the research paper he did for her, asserting that it is part of the agreement between them. Meanwhile, Kitty is lost and can't find her classroom. When Alex notices her, he guides her to her class. Kitty thanks him and leaves. She feels upset when she has to sit with Dai and Yuri and sees them being close to each other. Before she leaves the classroom, Professor Lee stops her and informs her that he decided to transfer her to the teaching office after seeing her exam grade. Kitty becomes excited, revealing that she used to teach children in the nursery, but it seems she misunderstood. Lee tells her that she will be the one receiving tutoring because her level is below her classmates. He asks her to go to the library after school so that they can assign her a private tutor. Kitty is shocked and tries to explain, but he doesn't listen to her. During the break, Kitty attempts to sit with someone, but everyone is making fun of her. She becomes excited when she sees Q and goes to sit next to him. He tells her that he won't be able to talk to her because he is in Dai's class. Kitty tells him that Dai's team has known about their relationship for years and that his relationship with Yuri is odd and fake. Q tells her that his relationship with her is indeed strange, but it is not fake. During this time, Dai enters the scene and Kitty becomes upset when she sees him. She then tells Q that he must have noticed the attraction between them that morning. Q responds, suggesting that Dai might be upset or confused. Kitty insists that he is not confused, but miserable, and she asks Q to trust her. At this point, Kitty successfully convinces Kyo to be her ally and join her team. Meanwhile, Yuri visits her mother's office upon her request. Her mother mocks her as her teacher suspects that Dai has been completing her homework. Yuri insists that Dai is merely helping her as her tutor. Her mother then requests her credit card, stating that they've indulged her enough. Reluctantly, Yuri hands over her card, asking about the steps she needs to take to reclaim it. Her mother promises to return the card once Yuri's behavior improves. When Dai signs the contract, he receives a large amount of money in his account. He calls his sister, asking about the brand of shoes popular amongst his schoolmates, promising to buy her a pair. Kitty enters her classroom late and is upset to find that Min-ho is her lab partner. Min-ho suggests she should return to her country as she's become a pitiful sight after Dai left her for Yuri. Kitty retorts, stating that a pimple-faced playboy like him has no right to comment on her relationships. Min-ho mentions that he hasn't had a pimple in 4 years and calls Alex to swap Kitty for another partner. Alex refuses, and Kitty is further irritated by Min-ho's taunting. Determined to get revenge, she exposes him in front of the class as Diaper Baby, causing the entire class to laugh at him. Kitty then moves to sit next to Kyo. Afterwards, she goes to the library for her tutoring program, where she feels her mother's presence. Kitty is delighted when she actually finds a picture of her mother and is shocked to learn that Dae is her tutor. Around the same time, Yuri sees the video of Minho as a child advertising diapers. However, she is stunned to find out that Kitty is the one who posted the video, a fact she learns from Dae. As they sit in the library, Kitty expresses her desire to tell Dae many things. But before she gets the chance to speak, Yuri interrupts them, informing Dae about the video incident. She forbids him from disclosing any information to Kitty, as she has revealed his secrets. She reminds him of their agreement and then departs. In the aftermath of the video scandal, Dae vents his frustration on Kitty, expressing his disbelief at her actions. Kitty defends herself, arguing that Minho treated her poorly and that if it were a big secret, he should not have shared it. Dae concedes that he shouldn't have confided in her and states that their relationship cannot continue, relegating her to the status of just a friend. He apologizes, admits that he is now with Yuri, and hands her a chain before leaving. Kitty is emotionally affected when she realizes that she was with him all along. On her return to her dormitory, she tries to compose herself and asks Q to film her. In the course of their conversation, an album falls to the ground, revealing a baby bracelet that Kitty recognizes. Surprised, Q tells her he didn't know she was born in Korea. Kitty denies this, but is shocked when she sees her father's name on the bracelet and realizes her mother had a child in Korea. The next day, Kitty goes to school and asks Lee to transfer her to another dormitory. Lee apologizes for the recent unfortunate event, assuring her that such incidents are not typical at the school, and he's confident that she will quickly adapt to her new roommate. However, Kitty is horrified when she arrives at her new room to find it trashed and filled with garbage. Her roommate is constantly playing games and listening to loud music, preventing Kitty from getting any sleep and causing her to doze off during class. She pleads with Alex, the person responsible for her accommodation, to transfer her to another dorm. Alex apologizes and informs her there are no vacant rooms. Distressed, she tells him she can neither sleep nor study, fears she will fail all her classes. Alex advises her to study in the library and assures her she will adjust. At night, she meets Q and they watch a movie together, but she seems visibly dissatisfied. Her frustration is clear as she struggles to communicate with Dae as before due to Yuri's constant presence and misses her best friend deeply. Q tells her he knows a place Dae frequents without Yuri and suggests she join his walking club, which starts tomorrow, giving her an opportunity to talk with Dae. The following day, Dae prepared for the club. As he left, Minho tried to call his mother, but she was too busy to speak, leaving him disheartened. When Q emerged from his room, Dae informed him that they would meet after the walk. Minho, keen on interacting with Dae, a rarity these days, agreed to join the club. Q attempted to escape from Minho, who then questioned what he was hiding. Eventually, Q confessed that Kitty was going to join them. Shocked, Minho decided to inform Yuri. As Dae arrived at the club, he was surprised to see Kitty, who told him that she attended because she needed to speak with him. She started to share about her mother, who she found out had a child in Korea. Before Kitty could finish, they were interrupted by Yuri. Dae was chastised by Yuri for going out with Kitty without telling her. He defended that they were just talking as friends. At this moment, Minho arrived, causing Dae to be taken aback. The group then began their walk. Yuri was terrified when she encountered insects. Kitty tried to speak with Dae before Yuri could intervene. However, she stumbled over something, causing Dae to rush to her aid. Q asked if she was all right, but Yuri butted in and mocked her. Kitty, unfazed, challenged Yuri to a race even with her eyes closed. Yuri accepted and they started to run. Kitty managed to outrun her, feeling ecstatic when she saw the whole city before her. She conversed with Yuri, questioning if her mother had ever stood in that place and that her mother used to enjoy walks with her siblings. Yuri revealed that her mother used to take her to the market and would often leave her there, having the nanny fetch her. Kitty revealed that their mothers knew each other, to Yuri's surprise. When Dae arrived, Kitty asked if she could take a photo of them. She noticed the hospital where her mother had given birth was right before her. Kitty rushed to the hospital. She tried to gather information about her mother, but the staff refused, citing the records were highly confidential. While there, Kitty noticed a rose in front of her, grabbed a bouquet, and looked for the records room. After finding the records room, she noticed that the staff member in charge had a crush on a hospital worker. Kitty made a plan, gave the bouquet to the staff member, and told her it was from the worker. She managed to enter the room and search for her mother's records. Despite the records being in Korean, Kitty found that the child her mother left behind was adopted by a family from Australia. She photographed the information, but a doctor walked in on her, startled, called for security, causing Kitty to panic. panic. In desperation, she called Alex to help her get out, poking fun at his Korean language skills in the process. Alex told Kitty that his Korean was terrible, even though his mother was Korean. However, he revealed that he and his parents were white and that he was adopted. Kitty then asked if he had ever met his biological family and whether he was curious to meet them. She also asked him if he knew he was adopted. Alex responded that he indeed knew, mainly because he looked different from his family. As they were speaking, Kitty noticed a resemblance in their ears and put the pieces together, asking him about his birthday. However, Alex didn't respond, telling her instead that it was about to rain and that they should leave. Meanwhile, Dae was with Minho, apologizing for revealing the advertisement story to Kitty. At this point, Kitty walked in and asked about Q. Dae was upset because they were drifting apart and she was not communicating with him anymore. Minho asked Dae if he still had feelings for her, to which Dae simply shook his head. Minho informed Dae that he had found something online accidentally and wanted to show it to him. Kitty was telling Q about what happened at the hospital, and she told him that she suspected Alex might be her brother. Q told her that it could be a coincidence and that she needed more evidence. Kitty explained that she felt her mother had left the bracelet for a reason, possibly wanting her to know about the child. While they were talking, Dae interrupted them, insisting he needed to show Kitty something. Kitty was shocked when she saw a video of herself sleeping posted on strange websites filmed by her dorm mate. Dae urged her to move to another dorm, but she told him that all other dorms were full. Q suggested that she could stay with them, sleeping in his room, while Dae shared a room with Minho. The next morning, Dae was surprised to wake up and find Kitty in front of him. However, he noticed she was wearing the socks that made her comfortable and asked if she was nervous. Kitty was touched when she realized Dae still remembered her liking for the socks. She told him it was strange that he knew so much about her, since they were just friends. While they were talking, Yuri kept calling him. Kitty got upset and told Dae it was not appropriate for them to be friends. She urged him to answer Yuri's call and left. Afterward, she hung out with Q and kept talking about Alex, telling him she believed Alex was her brother. Q advised her to focus on her relationship with Dae.
In the conversation, Q advises Kitty to have an open conversation with Alex. He tells her that the upcoming weekend will be a holiday because of Korea's National Day, providing her with an opportunity to approach Alex and talk with him. After the advice, they hurry to catch their lecture. During the lecture, the principal talks about the significance of the holiday, a time when they should thank their ancestors for the prosperity they enjoy. She emphasizes the value of family as the most precious thing in the world. Yuri appears skeptical as her mother discusses the importance of family. Kitty is devastated when she learns that she has failed her exam. Lee, another character, reminds her that they are not in America and that she must strive harder to succeed in Korea. As she leaves the classroom, she encounters Alex, who asks about her well-being. Kitty confesses her poor state, showing him her failed test, and tells him that she had never failed before. Alex sympathizes with her, recounting his own failures and trying to lighten the mood. Kitty appreciates his efforts and asks about his plans for the holiday. Since his family is not in Korea, Alex plans to do nothing. Kitty gets an idea and invites him to spend the holiday with her, promising to cook a meal for all the foreigners. Alex compliments Kitty, suggesting that even though she failed the exam, she succeeds at being a wonderful person, especially for thinking about others and cooking for them. Kitty is shocked upon realizing that she will have to cook, leading her to the supermarket. At the supermarket, she bumps into Minho, who is there to buy items for his significant other. Minho disapproves of the food Kitty has bought, saying that as a Korean, he cannot allow her to desecrate their food. He offers to do the shopping for her, and Kitty agrees. Meanwhile, Yuri has breakfast with her family. The meal is filled with tension as Yuri's mother and father argue. Her father plans to work on their holiday, causing her mother to be upset as he is not willing to spend the day with them. Yuri attempts to strike up a conversation with her mother, mentioning that Kitty told her they used to be friends. Yuri's mother admits they shared a dorm but were not particularly close. Yuri tries to inquire more, but her mother becomes upset, prompting Yuri to leave and retreat to her room. When Kitty wakes up, she is surprised to find Minho cooking. She tells him that he was the last person she would expect to know how to cook or do anything useful, and that there are moments when she thinks he is a decent person. Minho retorts that she won't be able to sway him to her side. Kitty then asks if he has spoken to Dae, because Dae usually feels sad on holidays due to his deceased mother. Minho replies that he has not spoken to Dae and asks if Kitty thinks about her own mother as well. Kitty acknowledges that she thinks about her a lot, but not in a negative way. She enjoys talking to Minho and thanks him. Kitty contemplates sending a gift to Dae,
Day, but she isn't sure what to give him. Meanwhile, we see Day cooking with his father, much to his sister's delight. Day presents his sister with a computer, their mother's favorite, which makes his father angry due to the high price Day paid at the supermarket when he could have bought it cheaper at the local market. Day explains that he just wanted to do something nice. As they are speaking, Yuri knocks on their door. Day is surprised when he opens the door to her. She says she wanted to escape her home and couldn't find anyone but him after her friend traveled. She brings a gift for his mother and is shocked to learn that she is deceased. She apologizes to Day, saying she didn't know. Meanwhile, Kitty stands next to Min-ho in the kitchen to cook with him. They discuss relationships, with Min-ho suggesting that there's no harm in having multiple relationships. Kitty retorts that he says this only because he hasn't found the perfect person for himself yet. He tells her that his parents once thought they were perfect for each other, but they are now divorced. Kitty apologizes to him and then serves him some potato dish she prepared, which he thoroughly enjoys. In the evening, Kitty is surprised when Lee prepares her dinner. She tells Q that she hates him and that the feeling is mutual. Q calms her down and tells her that she doesn't have to sit next to him. She brightens when she sees Alex, and Lee tells her that he wouldn't have come if his students didn't need supervision. Kitty asks Min-ho to sit next to Lee so that she can sit next to Alex. Min-ho refuses at first, but finally agrees as he wants to avoid someone else. Q asks Kitty to give a speech before they eat. She thanks them for their presence and mentions that this is her first holiday in Korea. She expresses her gratitude for having a place where they can be together. She raises a toast to her mother, appreciating her. At this time, Yuri is with Day and his family. She appears happy spending time with them. Day is moved when he sees her treating his sister and father kindly. Katie attempts to engage Alex in a conversation about his mother. Just before she gets to inquire about him, Min-ho rises from beside me to make his date with his girlfriend. Alex gets up from beside her and sits next to Min-ho, but Katie decides not to surrender. When Yuri leaves, she tells Day that she's not Katie, but she was able to gain the love of his family. Day laughs, but feels sad that Katie didn't converse with him the whole day. Yuri tells Day that this is the best holiday she has ever spent in her life, which makes Day happy, and he thanks her. Before saying goodbye, Yuri kisses him and leaves, bumping into the delivery worker. She sees the gift that Katie brought for him, decides to take it. Unbeknownst to Day, Min-ho prepares to meet his girlfriend, but suddenly his stomach hurts, causing him to have diarrhea and become immobile. Alex offers Lee the potatoes that Katie cooked, but he refuses to eat them after discovering that she added cheese, claiming that Asians have lactose intolerance. Alex defends Katie, saying that when he was a child, he ate a lot of it and that his body is accustomed to it. Alex then tries to start a conversation with Lee and asks about his studies. Lee replies that he studied his first year in university in America. Lee gets upset when he hears his fellow students laughing loudly and asks them to lower their voices. He tells Alex that this is why he never fathered a child. Lee leaves, irritated by their conversation. Min-ho sends a message to Katie, asking her to join him. When she arrives, she apologizes for the cheese and milk in the potatoes. However, she then teases him and continues to laugh. At that moment, his girlfriend arrives, and Min-ho asks Katie to send her away because he doesn't want her to see him in this condition. Katie agrees and succeeds in not only sending her away, but also piquing her interest in Min-ho. She tells the girlfriend that Min-ho is the most attractive guy in the whole school. After she leaves, Min-ho tells Katie that she's a genius and is delighted with her. When Yuri returns home, she finds her mother sitting alone and sad. Her mother asks her to come into her room. She then pulls out an album of her photos from when she was young, tears the picture of her and Katie's mother, and burns it. Meanwhile, Katie tries to have a conversation with Alex and tell him the truth. She's shocked, however, when she learns from him that Lee is his father. The following day, Min-ho wakes up perplexed from a dream in which he was romantically involved with Katie. At the same time, Katie is with Alex, trying to convince him to talk to Lee to reveal the truth. However, Alex refuses, expressing his unpreparedness to discuss this at the moment, as he feels a deep affection for his Australian family. He advises Katie to focus on her studies, given that her exams are approaching, and then leaves. Afterwards, Katie encounters Q and confides in him about the recent events. She continues talking about Day, the necklace she gave him, and how he didn't even thank her. Q advises her to temporarily forget about all that and try to enjoy her life, persuading her to attend Min-ho's party. Katie agrees, stating she never imagined she'd be at home crying over a boy. As night falls, Yuri gets ready, lies to her mother, and makes her believe that she's going to the cinema with Day. She reassures her mother not to worry. Her mother replies that as long as she is with Day, she has no concerns, noting that her grades have improved and she is causing less trouble. She observes that Yuri seems happy, which is all that matters to her. Yuri feels sad, shares her mother's words with Day, and tells him that she is not happy at all. Day tells her that her mother doesn't know her, comforting her when she admits that she feels sad about attending a party without her friend. He tells her that he'll support her and asks for her support too, since it's his first time attending such a party. When Dae arrives at the party, he sits with Min-ho, who is taken aback upon seeing a beautiful girl entering the party. He follows her, only to be shocked to find out that it's Katie. Dae is smitten with her and tries to talk to her, but Katie does her best to avoid him. She tells Q that she plans to drink and meet a new guy. Q informs her that the drinks are not alcoholic due to the legal drinking age in Korea, but his friend has alcohol and can spike their juice. Dae tries to speak with Katie again, but she walks away. She then tries to find someone to dance with, but fails. She feels upset upon seeing Dae standing with Yuri, leaves him, and goes to stand with another guy. She attempts to start a conversation with him, but gets annoyed when he continually mocks Yuri's appearance, even going as far as to comment on her nostrils. He tells Katie that she is much prettier than Yuri, so Katie rebukes him, stating that she won't tolerate him mocking Yuri, even if they are not friends. She goes on to tell him that she has seen Yuri up close and finds her very beautiful, with perfect nostrils. After berating him, Katie walks away. During this time, Yuri has overheard the entire conversation and feels delighted as Katie defends her. Katie feels discouraged and stands off to the side, growing more upset when she manages to make two people like each other, yet she's unable to do this for herself. Meanwhile, Yuri is dancing and asks Dae to join her. When he admits that he doesn't know how to dance, she begins teaching him. As he starts to dance, his mood lifts and he begins laughing. When Yuri asks why he's laughing, he tells her it's because he admires her. He clarifies that he admires her as a friend, particularly because she brought him to the party and helped him forget his worries. At this point, he sees Katie and rushes over to talk to her. However, Q intervenes to prevent Katie from being alone. It is clear to Q that Katie has been drinking. She asks him to dance with her, but he declines, mentioning that he has something else to do. Katie then remembers Alex. Leaving Q, she moves off to call Alex. She spends a lot of time talking about her mother and how happy she was to have a brother. Alex becomes worried when he finds out Katie is drunk at a party with alcohol. However, due to a poor network connection, he can't hear her well. Katie texts him, but mistakenly sends the message to Lee instead of Alex. On seeing the message, Lee immediately calls Yuri's mother and informs her about the party. She is shocked to find out that her daughter has been lying to her and now knows her location. Later, the boy who had upset Katie comes over to apologize. Still under the influence, she tries to get closer to him, but Yuri steps in, separating the boy from Katie, reminding her that he hasn't changed in an hour. Yuri gets her some water and food, and Katie is surprised by Yuri's kindness. Meanwhile, Alex arrives at the party and meets Min-ho, who pleads with him to help stop the party, as it could harm his mother's reputation if it became known that there was alcohol at his party. Katie is surprised to see Yuri DJing and tells Dae when he talks to her that she doesn't blame him and that she now understands that he's in love with Yuri. However, Dae wants to explain what happened, but Katie doesn't give him the chance. In the midst of their conversation, Min-ho sees them close together and feels jealous. Dae is upset with Yuri because of her actions, telling her that he thought they were friends. At this moment, Lee unplugs his headphones and everyone in the hall flees as soon as they see him and the headmistress. The next day, Yuri is scolded for causing the press to write about her sabotaging Dae. Her mother tells her that her actions have been embarrassing for her in the school. She asks Yuri to go to the church with Dae to have a photo session there to counteract the rumors and threatens that if Yuri does not heed her words, she will not give her back her credit card. Yuri goes to school and meets Dae, who asks her to break up as soon as he sees her. She apologizes and admits her mistake in taking the necklace. However, Dae does not seem to care about her words, telling her that he does not want to lose Kitty because of her. He questions her about the reason that made her take the necklace. Yuri tells him she was jealous and feared that he would return to Kitty and their friendship would end. She promises to fix what she has done. Yuri goes to Kitty's room to talk with her, but learns that she had left some time ago. She discovers that Kitty has been staying at the boys' dormitory. Yuri returns to school and tells Dae what she has learned, warning him that if he doesn't listen to her, she will report Kitty, which could lead to her expulsion. During their conversation, Kitty notices that Yuri is wearing her mother's necklace. She asks Dae if he gave it to her, to which Dae responds that Yuri stole it from him. At this point, the headmistress enters the room. She is surprised to see Yuri wearing the necklace and asks her about it. Kitty is shocked when the headmistress assumes it's her necklace and informs her that it's her mother's. The headmistress is flustered and assures that she must have been mistaken. As the headmistress leaves, Lee follows her and asks why she hid the fact that Kitty was their friend's daughter. The headmistress dismisses him, stating that it's not important for him to know. Yuri is surprised to see Lee talking with her mother. Lee confiscates the students' phones and instructs them to stay in the library for 8 hours as a disciplinary measure. He monitors them until he has to use the restroom and asks a student to keep an eye on them until he returns. During this time, Yuri talks with Kitty. She tells her that she needs to know why her mother becomes flustered when she hears Kitty's mother's name. Kitty admits that she wants to know too and is surprised when she learns that the headmistress and her mother used to be roommates. Yuri tells her that they need to find the albums containing their pictures. Kitty assumes that Yuri wants to know more about her, but Yuri denies this and claims she wants to use the information to bring her down. Kitty is scared, but she decides to help Yuri. However, when they look for the yearbook containing the pictures, they find it missing. Kyung and his friend enter after overhearing their conversation. They suggest that the headmistress must have been in love with Lee, but in the end, he chose Kitty's mother. So Yuri asked him about the reason that made him abandon her mother in particular. At this point, Kitty glances at Kyo, hoping he wouldn't mention Alex. She changes the subject, telling Yuri they must find the yearbook. Yuri informs her that her mother certainly kept it in her office, and they must look for it now before her meeting ends. Yuri is shocked when she discovers her mother's messages in the office. She realizes that she is the one who distanced her friend from her. Kitty discovers that the director has kept a record of her mother's death. Lee returns to the library and informs them that they have a lunch break. Dae is anxious because of Kitty and is surprised when Minho knows her food order. However, he gets worried when Lee informs them he'll be calling out names, afraid that he'll find out Kitty is missing. Kyo's friend assures him that he'll handle the situation. He speaks to Lee, expressing his admiration for the book he is reading. This excites Lee, who mentions that he has a copy at his house and leaves to get it.
Kitty calls Kyo, asking him to cover for them until they return. Just after she hangs up with him, Lee arrives home and she hears him singing. She and Yuri are terrified and hide. When he leaves, Kitty reveals that the song was her mother's favorite. Yuri discloses that it was her mother's favorite song as well. Kitty is taken aback when she sees a picture of her mother and the director in the yearbook. She discovers that it was the director who was pregnant, not her mother. Yuri, however, doesn't pay attention and hands her her mother's necklace. After that, they rush to get back before Lee sees them. Upon arrival, they ask Minho to help them. His girlfriend intervenes and manages to distract Lee until they sneak in. Yuri then takes the watch from Kyo, telling him she needs to make an important call. At the end of the day, Kitty talks to Alex, revealing that it was the director who was pregnant, not her mother. Alex is shocked when he realizes that she might be his mother. Dae is surprised when he leaves school to find the press present. He learns from Yuri that she called them because she intends to announce her breakup with him. She is doing this to get back at her mother, who distanced her friend from her.
Subsequently, Dae approaches Kitty and kisses her. Their relationship develops after this incident. However, Kitty remains concerned as she still doesn't fully understand what happened. When she tries to ask Dae about his past with Yuri, he refuses to talk about it. She complains to Kyo, telling him that her relationship with Dae is different in reality compared to when they are apart, because he does not express his feelings. Kitty objects to Dae approaching her in front of Yuri, as she wants to protect her feelings. They get on the bus because they are heading to the camp. Katie sits beside Alex to discuss the issue concerning the director. Alex confides in Katie that he is certain Lee didn't know she was pregnant. He feels the need to talk to her to ascertain the truth. Katie reassures him and discloses that Yuri isn't aware of the situation. When Alex inquires about her feelings towards her mother's relationship with the director, Katie expresses that she views her mother as an amazing friend. Alex compliments Katie, telling her that she inherited her mother's spirit, kindness, and loyalty. Katie gives Alex his childhood bracelet and tells him that her mother was sure that the director would find him. Meanwhile, Yuri sits with Dae and observes that he does not seem happy. Dae reveals that he is upset because he is unable to share what has happened with Katie. Yuri tells him that she has earned a significant sum by selling the story of their breakup to magazines, which makes her happy because now she can afford to travel as she wishes. Seeing Dae upset, Yuri promises to help him, although she is unsure how. Upon their arrival, Yuri asks Alex to allow her and Katie to share a tent. Alex cautions her not to get too excited and reveal to Yuri that they are siblings. Katie assures him that she won't say anything because she detests Yuri, suspects that Yuri is plotting to kill her. Once inside the tent, Katie talks to Yuri about her relationship with Dae and hints that Yuri doesn't know the full story. Yuri confesses that their relationship was a sham and reveals everything that has transpired. Minho calls his mother, feeling elated, tells her that he's decided to give a chance to the girl who was pursuing him as she is infatuated with him. When night falls, Katie confronts Yuri, accusing her and Dae of hurting her by hiding the truth. Yuri defends herself, saying that she was trying to help and that she was forced to act as she did. She reveals to Katie that Dae truly loves her and pleads for her forgiveness. Upon learning that Yuri's friend has traveled to London, Katie offers to help her meet her sister, who lives there. Moved by Yuri's situation, Yuri expresses her gratitude to Katie. The following day, Dae attempts to talk to Katie, acknowledging that he knows she has learned everything. Despite this, Katie confesses that she is still upset and hurt. Dae asks what he should do to earn her forgiveness. Katie tells Dae that the man she knew before would have known how to act without needing guidance. Shortly after, Katie learns from her sister about the whereabouts of Yuri's friend. Overjoyed and in disbelief, she meets her. Dae requests Yuri's help in reconciling with Katie. Yuri agrees and helps prepare a surprise which Dae reveals to Katie. Delighted, Katie tells Dae that nobody has ever surprised her in such a pleasant way before. Overjoyed, Dae embraces her. In the meantime, Minho is planning a surprise for his girlfriend to express his love. However, he feels she is not taking their relationship seriously. Minho, surprised, mentions that she used to be obsessed with him. She replies that she pursues boys but later tends to lose interest, apologizing to him. Despite this, Minho tells her he's grateful, as her behavior made him realize he needs to engage in a serious relationship. Meanwhile, Dae speaks with Kitty, reassuring her that despite her fears of him changing, it is a natural part of their growth, particularly since they met when they were merely children. 4 years have passed since the inception of their relationship. Kitty confesses that Dae was the only one she thought about throughout those years. She shares a story about her attending Minho's party and searching for a guy other than Dae. During that time, Dae admits he felt as if his stomach was ripped out. He then confesses his love for Kitty, which emotionally moves her and prompts her to express her love in return. When she gets back to the camp, she tells Yuri it was a perfect date, making Yuri very excited and prompting her to hug Kitty. Once Kitty returns to her accommodation, she and Dae openly express their love for each other in front of Minho, who feels upset because he wishes to be in a relationship. Kitty tells Minho she is happy because she has the most perfect boyfriend in the world. However, she then remembers her impending exams, worrying that she might fail all her subjects and potentially get expelled from school. Dae reassures her that they will all help her study until she passes. Dae also encourages Minho to remind her as well. During this time, Dae meets the school principal, Alex, and informs her that she is his mother. She is shocked when he tells her that he performed a DNA test and discovered that Lee is his biological father. Alex inquires if he came to school to meet her, to which he agrees. Alex then finds out that Kitty knows the truth, and Dae shows her the bracelet he had as a child, telling her Kitty gave it to him. Upon returning home, the principal sits down with her husband and confesses that she was pregnant at 16 and used her American friend's name to register the child under her name. She reveals that she has a son who has appeared. Her husband suggests that they should pay him to keep him away and protect their reputation. At this time, Yuri, who was eavesdropping, bursts into the room revealing that she knows everything. Alex chases after her. Yuri confronts her, stating that she knows Lee is the father of her brother. When she asks Alex who her brother is, Alex refuses to tell. Yuri accuses her mother of pushing her son away to preserve their miserable family. This leads to a heated argument between Yuri and her mother, causing Yuri to pack her belongings and leave. Q is tutoring Kitty when suddenly someone knocks on their door. This startles Kitty, causing her to hide, only to be shocked to find Yuri in front of her, telling her that they would live together. Yuri then tells Kitty about the events that transpired at home, revealing that she has a brother. This confuses Kitty, leading her to question if Yuri knows who her brother is. Kitty feels relief when Yuri tells her that her mother refused to identify him, but tension quickly returns as she struggles to keep Alex's identity as her brother hidden. This is especially challenging when Yuri mentions her excitement about meeting her sibling, a longing she has carried throughout her life. Despite her internal conflict, Kitty holds herself together, keeping her promise to Alex not to reveal his identity. However, she subtly hints to Yuri about a day they saw their mother's yearbook and mentions that their mother was pregnant at that time. Yuri reacts to this revelation warmly, remarking that they are as close as their mothers were and comforts Kitty with a hug. The following day, Minho is surprised to find Yuri at their house. His surprise soon turns into annoyance upon discovering that her relationship with Dae was a facade. He confronts Kitty, questioning how she could forgive Dae. Kitty admits that she was upset, but she has chosen to forgive him. Minho mocks her, claiming she's just like his father's wife. As Dae enters the scene, he assures Minho that his relationship with Kitty is amicable. Minho expresses his frustration, feeling betrayed by Dae, whom he considered a friend who kept no secrets from him. Later, as they step out for coffee, Dae apologizes to Minho for his actions, although Minho continues to harbor his resentment. During their conversation, Dae becomes suspicious of Minho's interest in Kitty, asking him about it. In the meantime, they see Q's friend engaged in a suspicious conversation and taking something from a stranger. The next day at school, Lee announces a talent show which will feature a traditional Korean performance. Yuri tells Kitty that she will teach her Korean dance and perform with her. On the day of the show, Kitty, despite her practice with Yuri, feels nervous. She hears Alex playing music and decides to talk to him. She is shocked to learn that he is planning to return to Australia and not come back to Korea. He admits that he came to Korea to meet his biological family, and although he has indeed met them, his father remains unaware of his existence. His mother, upon learning of him, has been ignoring him. Overhearing their conversation, the school principal passes by. Kitty reveals to Alex that Yuri wants to meet him and has always desired a brother. Alex hands Kitty her exam paper, making her elated upon learning that she passed. She pleads with Alex to consider what she has told him for Yuri's sake. As the night falls and the show begins, Q appears to be upset with his friend because he discovered that the latter has been cheating in exams to pass and avoid going back to his mother. Prior to Kitty and Yuri's stage performance, the headmistress interrupts them. She asks Yuri to return home and warns her that she would speak with Alex. Yuri is shocked to find out that Alex is her brother and that Kitty had known but kept it a secret. As the show begins, they continue to argue, Yuri becoming increasingly upset with Kitty. She questions how Kitty could have hidden such truth from her. Kitty responds by saying she thought her brother was cute. Still, Yuri remains upset and tells Kitty they're no longer friends. In her upset, Kitty accidentally bumps into the firework machine, which sparks a fire that catches on her clothes. Minho rushes over to extinguish it. Seeing this, Dai runs towards Kitty and asks Minho to leave. Dai becomes agitated and suspicious that Minho might be attracted to his girlfriend and confronts him. Kitty intervenes, assuring Dai that there's nothing between them, but this results in a ruined show. The headmistress breaks into tears as her husband continues to berate her. She leaves him and goes to her children, holding their hands, and requests Lee to leave with them for a conversation. Lee is shocked to discover that Alex is his son. The headmistress apologizes to him, saying she didn't want to tell him at the time as she didn't want him to change his decision to move to America as she believed in his dream of becoming a famous musician. However, he tells her that it wasn't his future and he never wanted to be a singer. He asks to speak with Alex alone, but the headmistress refuses, asserting that they all need to talk together. When Kitty returns to her dorm, she is distressed and calls her father, who becomes concerned for her and wants to travel to her. Kitty reassures him that it's not an emergency. She tells him about her fight with Dai and Yuri and how upset and confused she is. Her father tells her that it's normal for a 17-year-old girl, and he encourages her, telling her she is one of the strongest people he knows because she traveled abroad to study alone. Kitty admits that she doesn't feel strong and that she might fail all her subjects. Her father comforts her, saying that it's okay, and asks if she has learned anything other than academics. Kitty tells him that she has learned that her mother has given her boundless love and has had a significant influence. Following this, Kitty starts packing her clothes for the winter vacation. Q sees her packing and asks her to come back. She tells Q that she's not sure about what will happen. She becomes sad when she notices that Yuri isn't responding to her messages. Q reminisces about when he first arrived in Korea, admitting that he had absolutely no experience in anything. Kitty tells him that indeed she has learned a lot in Korea. She is often scared of failure. Q reassures her, telling her that she will succeed, especially because he needs his special relations coordinator by his side. Later, he makes her a cup of tea and talks about his friend who he discovered has been cheating. He expresses his dilemma because he understands his friend is struggling due to his parents' divorce and only cheated to avoid having to move away with his mother. Kitty tells him that his friend's actions were wrong, especially since everyone is working hard to succeed. The next day, when Yuri wakes up, she finds her mother sitting in front of her, watching her sleep. Upon waking up, Yuri's mother tells her that she has spoken to Alex and invited him to spend the holiday with them. Yuri is elated when she learns that her mother has allowed her friend to return to Korea, and she embraces her. On the day the results are announced, Q is shocked to learn that his friend has secured the first position. He realizes that his friend will replace Day and tells him that he is his closest friend and what happened was wrong. Suddenly, Kitty appears among the boys and asks Q about her result. She is thrilled to know that she passed, but forgets that she has appeared before the boys. She is taken aback when the supervisor asks her to go to the principal's office. There, everyone is speaking in Korean and Kitty can't understand them. She requests them to let her speak and tells them that her roommate kept the camera on 24 hours a day and she couldn't live with her because of the mess in the room. The principal tells her that they are discussing her expulsion from school. Kitty responds by saying that she has passed all her classes. The principal tells her that she violated the rules and this will do part as a hair scholarship. Disheartened, Kitty decides to speak in front of the students and teachers. She tells them how much the school means to her, especially because her mother studied there and she was able to find her mother at this place. However, the principal leaves before Kitty finishes her speech. Alex walks her out and tells her that though he lived abroad, he knows it's a big mistake in Korea to put one's foot on the table they eat on. He becomes emotional, telling her that he will miss her dearly. Kitty is moved and assures him that they will keep in touch. When she is packing her bag, Min-ho enters several times asking if she used his cream. She denies it but tells Q that she did use it. Q is upset and tells her that he can't believe she won't be coming back. Kitty tells him that she will miss him the most. He cries, and at that moment Min-ho enters and tells them he's leaving. Kitty is surprised and tells Q that Min-ho probably doesn't know that she won't be coming back. Q tells her that he knows, but that's just how Min-ho behaves. As Katie prepared to leave, she encountered the principal, who expressed that she had been moved by Katie's words. Katie then presented the principal with a letter that her mother had written for her. She explained that she wished she could have responded to her mother's words when she first read them, but she couldn't at the time, handing over a tape she had found in her mother's bag to the principal. The latter was elate, explaining that it was a special creation by a man named Lee. Meanwhile, Day was shocked when he learned that he had placed second, thereby potentially jeopardizing his scholarship and housing. He expressed his frustration to Q, but couldn't bring himself to reveal the truth. Day's shock deepened when he learned from Q that Katie had left and wouldn't be returning. Upon entering his room, he found the necklace from his mother that Katie had left behind. Calling his father, he asked for a ride to the airport. Upon arrival, he sprinted through the airport in an effort to catch Katie before her departure. Upon seeing Day, Katie ran to him, embraced him, and admitted her fear of never seeing him again. She began to express her lack of regret about their relationship and her journey to Korea, stating it was all worth it. She called him her first real love. Day, however, was taken aback when he learned that Katie wished for them to break up. He assured her that she would always be the first girl he ever loved. Tearfully, Katie kissed him. After this tender moment, Day left her behind and walked away. Later on, Katie bumped into Yuri. At first, she thought Yuri was there to meet her, but soon discovered that Yuri was actually at the airport for her own friend. This upset Katie, causing her to leave before Yuri could introduce her to her friend. As Katie boarded her flight, she was surprised to find Min-ho seated next to her. He explained that he was traveling to America to meet his mother. Katie voiced her assumption that he didn't care to say goodbye to her, to which Min-ho jokingly responded that he still didn't care. Then he asked her if she had made peace with Day. Upon hearing that she and Day had broken up, Min-ho felt emboldened and confessed his feelings for her. Katie, completely taken aback, found herself at a loss for words.